This video is going to be about upgrading your backsplash behind your stove or a sink or a kitchen. This is what it looks like. I'm going to show you how to turn it into this, which will not only increase the value of your home, it'll make your kitchen look good, and you would feel good as well. So first I start off with tin set mixture. You could buy tin set already pre-mixed containers, but those are very expensive compared to powder tin set. So most of the commercial contractors that you hire, they use what I'm using right now. They use this mortar mix. They use this tin set mix that you could buy over at any hardware store. So I was able to go to Home Depot and pick this up. I'm sure any hardware store would have it. So what I want to do is I want to show you, when you're mixing thin set, all you need to do is add water. But when you do add water, you need to be careful because the powder is really fine. You know, you want to be careful with adding the water. You don't want to add too much water. As you will see, what I had to do was pour some water from that bucket, not much, because you want to pour and mix. This way you know how much of water you need, as with everything else. But this particular thin set, you need to be careful with the amount of water you mix. You don't have to add too much water. Long time ago, I made a mistake of adding powder into the water. I wouldn't recommend you do that because you never finish adding the tin set. If you're working on a small area, you will end up in a difficult situation where you would have to throw some of the tin set out because you mix more than you needed. So I find it's more effective to have tin set already on a bucket or a container, and you just add water as needed. And you don't want to add water generously. You want to be conservative when you are adding water. So add as little as possible. Stir it. In this case, the bucket is big. I was able to use a mixture with my drill. But if you have a smaller bucket, you could use a branch or a spoon or something to mix. But it's very important that you mix well because you don't want to have any dry thin set powder in the mixture, because that will not work very well when it comes to applying it on the wall. The finished product of the mixer, this is what it's looking like right now, and you want to get to that. You don't want it too saggy, you don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin off the mixture till I get any excess thin set of it. So now it's time to begin working. So this particular one was not installed properly. It's the wrong thing for this area because the stove gets hot. Whoever installed it shouldn't have done that. And what happened was, looks like the heat, melted it, because these backsplash you find in the Dollar Tree or something, or a general store, people think they could just apply it anywhere. But it's very important not to apply it behind the stove. It might be okay behind your sink or anywhere else, but please not behind the stove. So what I had to do is I had to remove all of it, because first it's a fire hazard. Secondly, it looks terrible, as you saw. But right now you make sure you took everything off like I did. I remove everything, to go ahead and apply the tile directly. I mean, you could go and apply another board on top of this, but what I decided to do is I decided to put tin set directly on the wall. That will be perfectly fine. It's up to you. You could add Wonder Board if you like. I just don't think it's necessary. So with the tin set, first you apply it down like this, as you see me do it. Once you have the tin set on the wall, you could flip the tin set applicator with the side where you have a lot of ridges, and hold it 45-degree angle. And you want to get the tin set like that before you apply the tile on the wall. So it's very important that you do that, and don't leave it flat like you see here. You turn your applicator and you make ridges like that, so the thin set is spread out evenly. So these tiles, they are wonderfully connected together piece by piece. So I'm able to just go and apply it what I need it to be. I'm just, applying it as I see it because the area is so small. But if the area was big, I would have to, draw a line, use a leveler, laser leveler to make sure they're all aligned. So in this case, I don't think the owner is going to have the kitchen for very long. I think he is trying to get rid of the kitchen in the next 4 to 5 years. So, the customer just wants to get rid of those tiles that I took out and wanted to install this particular tile there for the remainder of the time before they renovate the kitchen. So if you are in the same situation, you just want to do some little work here and there and do the backsplashes, you could just do exactly what I did in this video. It's very easy to do. I think the hardest thing is mixing the thin set. If you're not comfortable with mixing it, you could easily go ahead and buy a pre-mix thin set in the store. They come all sizes, but the price is almost double compared to the powder one. So I do tiling a lot. So I always buy powder. This way I could support multiple projects with one bag of thin set powder. As you will see later on in the video, I also mix grout, powder grout with water. You could also buy premix, but I buy powder. So right now I have the tile in place. What I'm trying to do is taking my time to place all the tiles everywhere where it belongs, and any excess thin set that is on top of the tile, be sure to remove them. Be sure to wipe them off, because once they dry, it will be very, very difficult to take them out. Believe me, you don't need to waste your time trying to take off the thin set when you could just wipe it off. It is much easier to wipe off the thin set than to try to take them off when it's dry, because with these small pieces of tile, you run the risk of removing a tile in the process of trying to wipe off the thin set. So in about every time you install a tile, you could just take a wet, damp towel or a rag. I use napkin here to just wipe off any excess thin set that you have on top of the tile, because you don't need that. You really don't need it. So what I want to do is I want to wait about 24 hours. After 24 hours, which is about next day, you are ready to install or apply grout on top of the tile. So my area is so small, so I just took a ordinary milk cart, I rinsed it off, and I just went ahead and mixed the grout. As you see, I'm mixing the powder grout, not the premix one, because you could always buy premix, which cost extra than the powder one. The powder one lasts long time. You could just use it for many projects, and the price is so affordable. All you have to do is mix with water, as we did with the thin set. So I'm just randomly scooping. I don't know exactly how many need. I'm just taking a guesstimate. So as you see, I am adding water as needed, and I am being careful with adding water, because you don't want to make watery. You don't want to make it too dry. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you mix it well and you add the right amount of water. Otherwise, your grout will just spill out or pour out or won't stick, or it will take too long to dry. You don't need that. As you apply the grout, it should stay between the tile. So if you pay attention to my mixture, if you look up closer, you will be able to see how it should be. It's not dry, it's not too wet, it's just right. All right, and it's very important to have it like that. This way the tile would not dry. This way the grout would not die. This way the grout would not dry on you, and you would be able to do your job very fast. So you see how I got it at 45-degree angle. So I'm just applying it 45-degree angle. This way I'm able to make sure that the grout is sitting in between the tile. All right, and once you have it applied 45-degree angle, you could just go at a 90-degree angle to scrape off any excess grout that you have. So what I'm trying to do is, I didn't mix much, so I'm trying to use every bit of grout that I mixed for this project so that I am being efficient, as well as I don't have to waste time mixing again and again and again. So it works out, all kind of ways you could think about. I'm not only saving money on grout, I'm also saving time, and I'm also using as much material as I need, and I'm not wasting. Which is also a good thing. So it's easier when you have a applicator like that, where you could just apply the grout on the wall with a 45-degree angle, or you could just use rag to do that, but it's easier with an applicator. So I'm just waiting a couple of minutes. After a couple of minutes, you take a damp rag and you wipe off. You want to make sure you don't wait more than 10 minutes. I wouldn't wait more than 10 minutes before you do this, because the grout would start drying, and once the grout starts drying, you're going to have difficult time trying to take off the grout off the tile. So what I had done was, I took a damp rag and I wiped the tile off the grouts. What some people do is they get a sponge and a wet bucket, and then they use sponge to do that. You could do it, but I prefer rag. I think using rag is more efficient. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with family and friends. Thank you for watching.